Center. So welcome. So on tap today, we're going to look at that seven-step sales process we talked about last week. We're going to actually how to conduct the prospecting process more effectively, how to structure your client sessions, your meetings, position yourself as an expert, how to present and negotiate, overcoming objections, and a lot more. So we got a full 2 hours. And again, it's interactive, so use that chat, share your answers. Um, that's really critical to the learning because whatever you're saying, somebody else needs to hear. So welcome back, everybody. Let's get started on this sunny Thursday. We're looking at the seven-step sales process, and that's really about positioning yourself as a consultant or a thought leader or a partner with your clients and prospects. So the first step is prepare. Remember we talked about that last week. Get mentally in the game, mentally, emotionally, physically. Your space, like make sure your space is clean. I used to work with in a family business a long time ago, and the desk was a disaster zone. And I'm thinking, how do you work in that? Like, how do you know where things are? And it's like I could deal with some mess, but I like it clean. So, prepare. Oh, prepare your list. Know who you're going to call on. Do your research. That's step two. Research your industry and your client's industry, and know something about how you impact your clients, the world, right? Their life, their business, their health, whatever. Know how you make an impact. So do your research. We looked at prospecting last week, which is really just having engaging conversations. We even practice some prospecting, and we're going to follow up on that because I give you homework. And today we're going to look at meeting, chatting, that first meeting, which is what you want in a prospecting conversation. You want to meet with somebody. And now, as Laura was alluding to at the beginning, you have to do that using Zoom, or maybe you can meet physically distance. I know in the summer I was meeting clients, but outside, and I got to meet them that way, right? But now with the cooler weather, it's a little more challenging. So we're back to sort of doing video calls, video conferencing, or using the phone. And so how do we conduct a good meeting? And then we'll look at presenting, doing the work, checking in with your clients, and then we'll end with nurturing relationships, which is really a critical step to the sales process. So let's get into it. Did you do your homework? I asked you about, who are your top three clients? What do you know about them? And maybe did you call them just to check in, practice, connect? Did anybody do that? Just say yes, no, and if you did, how did it go? Like, did you connect with three people? How did it go? I'll leave it for a minute just to see. I know typing in takes a little longer than just wording it out. I'm not seeing much in the chat. Here we go. Yeah, it went well, Carissa. Thank you. You gained some insight. Good. Thank you. Really important to do this. If you didn't do it, just it helped with your advertising. Good. Yeah, check in with people. Just call your top three clients and just check in and ask them questions. Do some market research. Let them know what you got going on. Educate them. Listen, if they're not going to buy now, they'll buy later. So, that's what you're also gearing for. You want to nurture that relationship. So it's really important. If you didn't do this, take it on next week, right? And you can even email me if you want and say, hey, I did it. This is how it went, right? So I don't mind that. So thanks. We have oh my gosh. Who are your top three clients? Kathleen says, doctors, pediatricians, general clinic. I'm not even going to say the third one, Katjan. Um, it's too big. What do you know about them? Well, you prescribe safe and effective products and appreciate companies that invest in continuing medical education and support in scientific medical congresses. Did you call them to practice and connect? Yes. Tatian says, in all the main medical congresses with STAN, scientific class and satellite symposium, and distribution of promotional material. Wow, you're busy. Good, good. So you took part in an online symposium. That's great. Okay, good. So that's what we want to see, right? Just connect with people, reach out. This week, do it. You know, take it on to do it. Also, did you work on this? Were you able to figure out 5 ways you're going to prospect or look for clients? What are 5 ways to look for clients? Did you identify who your ideal client is and why? Are you clear as to the goal of prospecting? Remember last week I said the goal of prospecting, never to sell, is to get that meeting. So you can meet with them and further discuss their business, their wants, their needs, their hopes, their goals, and their dreams and challenges, right? So really important. So did anybody do this? I see somebody in the chat. Maura says, I wanted to ask what my thoughts are on the concept of cold calling. I find it intimidating and annoying for others. Does it sometimes work, but not all the time? Work with friends, but not people I know. Good question, Nora. Yes, it does work. It's not like anything in marketing, it's not a quick fix, right? So you have to kind of keep at it. And studies show it takes 7 to 9 contacts before you get that meeting, right? So there's ways to enhance the process. And last week we prepared what we're going to say when we call somebody. We prepared an opening script. So if you weren't here last week, check out the video or the recording and go back and do that. And really, you just want to keep it short and sweet with somebody. You know, it's like, hey, Joe, this is who we are. This is what our company is, and this is what we do. And the benefit to that is you get this, right? So if that's a result that you like, you know, I'd love to meet with you. How would next Thursday at 2 be? And that's really all you need to say when you call somebody, right? So it does work. I think now it works probably more because, you know, we're limited in terms of where we can go and what we can do in terms of networking, events, conferences, things like that. So, you know, a little bit of calling every day. I schedule an hour, at most an hour and a half every day. And the other rule of thumb is I don't call on friends or family. I don't want to do business with friends or family because it can get personal really fast. And so you don't want it to get personal. It's just business. So yeah, I'm really targeted as to who I'm going to call. Then I do my research about them, what's going on for them, what do they need, what are they offering, what might they be missing that I can deliver, right? So I do my homework, and then I prepare what I'm going to say. And I just gave you a little bit of a sample of what I would say to somebody when I call them. So it's a bit of a warm call, but I'm not asking for the sale. I'm not asking for the business. I'm sharing the benefits, and we talked about that last week, the benefits of what I do, right? Or what we can do. Hey, we get these kind of results, or we help you grow your business by, you know, up to 10%. Or we have a health and wellness program that helps you manage the stress and the change that we're all in right now. If that's something that's, you know, in your way, I'd love to talk to you and show you what we do and how we do that, right? So Nora, I hope that helps and answers your question, okay? So do a little bit, and I have to be honest, I get most of my sales from phoning, and to me it still works because it's direct. And now, again, because there's so much clutter on the internet and, you know, everybody's doing webinars and courses, sometimes you got to step back and go, okay, I'm going to do something. I'm going to take that road less traveled. So I'm a big believer in getting on the phone for an hour, at most an hour and a half a day, and making my calls. And then I might follow up with a direct mail, right, to further emphasize the benefit and the reason that we help people, right, or help our clients. And then I'd follow up maybe with another call, right? So it's a process. You don't want to badger somebody. You just want to kind of continue to stay in their world until such time that you can get a meeting and then they're closer to maybe looking at buying. Okay. Carol says, above and beyond my plans for prospecting after my LinkedIn webinar experience with Laura yesterday, it made me realize that I really have worked really hard to make connections over the past couple of years. And it's time to reach out to existing connections again and touch base and tell them about her new venture. Excellent. And Helen, good to see you too. And Carol, good to see you. Helen joined a women's business networking group, and they have online coffee chats. Perfect. Yeah, and that's kind of like a prospecting opportunity because you get to share who you are, what you do, and would they be interested in following up with you? And so the goal is to have that follow up and that meeting so you can further discuss what's going on for them and then to see if you know how you can help them. So great work, everybody. Really good work. So, you know, just make sure you've answered these questions. 5 ways you're going to prospect. So Helen alluded to one, and that is she joined an online group, right? Carol alluded to another. She's, you know, mining her LinkedIn contacts, and she's going to give them a call and just to say hi, right? Don't be attached to the outcome because that's where, when you're attached to something, that's where disappointment comes in, right? Because you're like, oh man, I didn't get that, and I really wanted that. But if you're committed to sharing, you know, the gospel, as it were, of your business and how you benefit people and what they get from working with you, and that you know you'd love to get to know the client better, so to see if there's a fit for you know for you to both work together. That's going to get you better results. All right. So 5 ways to look for clients. So we got 2: joining groups, mining your LinkedIn. Any other ideas? I like writing. I like hosting podcasts. Hosting an event, like a series. Joint venturing. So anybody you team up with, they can talk to their clientele and introduce you to them, right? So joint ventures. Virtual markets. Yeah, Carissa, good one. Again, joining online networking groups, and there's a lot of them that are going on right now. So all the real life ones have now turned into virtual ones. And then really get clear as to, Carolina says, having a Google profile, yeah, and post news articles regularly. Excellent. Set up a Facebook Live on Tuesday nights. Career Cafe. Excellent. The Mississauga Board of Trade is amazing. Joining that. Yeah. So these are all things to get you to prospect and get you in front of a customer, right? Just to at least begin the process of getting them to want to meet with you and maybe explore how you can help them and how you can work with them. Who's your ideal client and why? Who's your ideal client and why? I love taking that first sip of water and I'm not looking and it just spilled on my shirt. It's only water. Who's your ideal client and why? You get to do that. Connecting with lawyers, bankers, yeah, excellent. And they know about business being sold and requiring. If you're selling services in the area, it would be a great lead. Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Francisco. All right. So get really clear as to who's your ideal client and why. Why do you want to go after them? You know? So some criteria might be, hey, you know, they have budget, or they're doing something, or they're in business, or they're growing, they're a new company, they're going to need my services. They have a clear defined need, right? Or I like working with those people. That could be just it, right? Or this is where I make my most impact. This is where I'm most passionate. I really want to help this group of people, right? So ideal client, Carolina says, professionals with skilled work experience that have good English level and good financial means to get established in Canada. Yeah, totally. You need the financial means. Carolina says 22 to 35-year-olds. Carol Lee says young, hip, small businesses who want to be unique and who value the importance of a healthy employee and also the morale boost that provides. And when the employees are healthy and taken care of, they're going to work really hard for you. So that's another part of the profile there, Carol. Excellent, excellent work. So the goal of prospecting, anybody know that one? I've already given it away. Just to get a meeting. You want to meet, right? You want to meet. And then did anybody do any work on 2 to 3 niche markets? And why does having a niche help you be more effective? Remember we talked about Pamela, that stress woman, and then she had this big huge target market last week, right? 25 to 55-year-olds, and she wasn't getting anywhere. But when we narrowed and segmented or niched her market up, and she was clear in her messaging, and people just said, "Oh my God, that's me! I'm that single, self-employed woman who's stressed out and has no time for anything, and I got kids that I got to take care of," and I'm like, "Wow!" Right? And so when Pamela talked to her or that kind of person in that language, she kind of hit a nerve, and then they wanted to work with her in the business. So make sure that moving forward, that you niche your market down and maybe focus on 2 to 3 niche markets, right? Because it's going to help you connect way better, and their ears are gonna be perked up, and they're gonna want to work with you. Okay, so a little bit of homework here from last week. Don't forget to do it because it's gonna help you. Not only help you in writing a business plan, but it's also gonna help you in developing your marketing action plan, right? Because you could be spinning a lot of wheels, and you could send your message out to everybody, but nobody's gonna hear it, right? Nobody's going to hear it. I'm always reminded there's a really good radio show on CBC with, oh my God, Terry O'Reilly, who owns a company called, um, uh, oh man, it's a TV production company and radio, pirate radio. That's it. So Terry O'Reilly hosts a CBC radio show. It was called The Age of Persuasion. Now I think it's called Under the Influence. And it's a show about marketing and advertising. And he shared a story a few years ago about the Toronto Symphony Orchestra, TSO. And they called him in for a meeting because they needed to develop a radio campaign. And they said, "We got a problem." I said, "Tell me, what is it?" Anybody kind of guess why TSO, what their problem was and why they needed a new ad campaign? Any guesses as to what was happening with the TSO's market? That's the Toronto Symphony Orchestra. Any guesses as to what was happening with their market? What was happening when they met with Terry O'Reilly? They said, "Terry, our problem is our audience." Yes, Carissa, hang on. Low attendance customers are getting older. Randa, beautiful. Carissa says passing away. Exactly. Sadly, they were getting older and they were passing away, or they were older and had mobility issues. So the idea of schlepping in from, let's say, North York or Mississauga all the way to downtown Toronto at King and John, where they are, or Peter Street, was a pain in the what, right? And they were passing away, so they needed a new audience. They needed to replace the older people that were coming to them for all these years. And so they commissioned Terry to, uh, be the ad agency of record or the radio ad agency to produce ads and put a campaign together. So Terry went back to the office of Pirate Radio, and instead of putting a campaign together and just doing it, he actually researched the market, and he went and he asked the next group down. The next group down from seniors would be boomers, and he would meet with them, and he asked them, what do you think of the TSO? What's your opinion? What's your feeling? What's your emotion? What stops you from going? Why would you go? Right? Ask a lot of these market research kinds of open-ended questions to get a feel for that market and where they were with respect in their mind to the TSO. And surprisingly enough, most boomers said they were open to it, but they have a memory of going to the TSO when they were kids, and it was a big production. They had to dress up, they had to go with their parents. They found it a big production. They felt uncomfortable. They didn't like dressing up and being on their best behavior. They just wanted to go to a music event and be themselves, right? You know how boomers are. We just want to go and hang out, have a few beers, whatever, and just enjoy the event. So the bottom line is they were a little bit afraid or a little bit put off by going to the TSO. So that he went back to the TSO and said, here's what we found out, and this is our idea. So it was around September or August that they were meeting and everything, and they were going to do like a 6-week Halloween themed campaign, with the theme being you don't have to be afraid to go to the symphony, right? And with Halloween, it's not scary. So what the ad said was they spoke to the problem that this group had, and then they flipped the problem and said, here's why you can now come and feel safe and welcome at the TSO, right? You can come as you are. We have great music. We're not what we were when you were kids, right? And then they bought airtime on radio stations that market was listening to. So they bought airtime on Q107. Can you imagine you're listening to, Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven, and all of a sudden you don't have to be afraid to come to the symphony, right? And then you're hearing Tchaikovsky or Beethoven. It's like, what? So it gets your attention, speaks to your pain or challenge or problem, and it flips it, inviting you to come to the symphony. It's not what it was. We're a lot more fun. Come, right? And that campaign worked. Why? Because they bought airtime where boomers were. They spoke to the challenge and the problem. They were really clear on the niche they were going after, right? They also bought time on, Boom, 97.3, 207, stations like that, where you don't normally expect to hear an ad for the TSO. You would maybe on CFMX, the classical music station, but not on Q107. So it's really important to know your niche market so that you can talk their language, especially when you're having a conversation. Does that help everybody? I love that example. I really encourage you to listen to the show. I think it's on today, but I think they repeat it Saturday morning on CBC One. I think it's on at 11 on Saturday morning. So it's Under the Influence with Terry O'Reilly. Wonderful speaker, very engaging, and full of information. So the goal of prospecting really is to get the meeting, and that's right. If you're selling hard, Carolina says it's a great show. Yeah, it really is. If you're selling hard on that first call, you're not going to have any luck. You cannot sell anything on a call. You can't, because the client, you haven't earned the right, number one. It's like you're on LinkedIn and then somebody sends you a LinkedIn request and then you say, oh, okay, they look okay, I'll add them, right? And the next thing you know, they're marketing to you. Hey, thanks for adding me. I sell this. You've got to buy it. And you're going, hey, I don't even know you, and you don't know me. Get to know me first. And so the call, remember your prospecting call, is just it's an opportunity to tickle somebody's fancy or get them intrigued or fascinate them so that they want to meet with you. And then you want to meet and then discuss their needs and their hopes and their budgets and their goals and their challenges and see if you can come up with an idea or a solution that's going to help them. So that's the goal of the third step of the sales process. It's to get that meeting. So what are your goals for that first meeting? You really need to be clear on that. What are your goals? Let's think about that for later. When you start having those meetings, you're networking online and you have that face-to-face meeting. Make sure that you have some goals and objectives for the meeting so you're not wasting time, right? What's the meeting about? What do you want to get out of it? Do you just want to waste time and just meet somebody because you're bored? Or do you want to meet somebody because, hey, I'm clear as to this is what we can do for you. Is what we do a good fit for you, right? So really don't waste your, even in normal times, you don't want to meet somebody for the sake of meeting them. You want to meet them because there's something that can come from it. There's work to be done. There's opportunities, right? So you just want to be really clear as to what your goals are. And my goals are is to find out as much information about the client, and I call it I mine for pain. I want to know where their pain is so that I can offer them ideas and solutions so that they can take it to the next step. Or I want to offer contacts and creativity, creative ideas so that they can take the next steps to move forward, right? Here's a question I want you to answer. Should you do all the talking in a meeting, or is it a time to sell in a meeting? What's your take on that? Should you do all of the talking, and is it a time to sell in that first meeting? No. Yeah, listen. Carol, yes. You missed a step though, Carol. And you know what it is because you've got a sales background. I know you. The key is to ask good questions. You got to ask really good questions. Okay? And then listen, right? You don't have to have any answer. Yes, see, Carol? Ah, yes. Ask good questions, listen, mind for the pain, see where the client's at, see, watch the body language, watch what they're saying. You feel that there's a good possibility of working with them, right? So in your meeting, again, like, okay, so your prospecting call, 10 seconds. Then if they say no, you're going to ask questions. Remember, we talked a little bit about asking good questions. Should you do all of the talking in a sales meeting? No, you should be asking questions, listening, right? Your time to sell will be if you think this is a good opportunity for you to work together and you do step four, which is your presentation. That's when you're kind of selling or reinforcing the value you bring to the table. Yeah, ask questions about them. People love to talk about themselves. Exactly, Carol. So do you have to have all the answers in a sales meeting? The good news is you don't. You don't. You can always say, you know what, that's a good question. I'm not sure. Can I get back to you? Right? Be honest. You know, be as expert as you can. Know your stuff for sure. But if you don't know something, just say you get back to them. So remember, consultative selling. We talked about it last week. Remember, consultative selling is an approach that prioritizes the relationship and open dialogue. So that's what the meeting is about. It's an open dialogue to identify and opportunities and provide solutions to a customer's needs, right? So it's hyper focused on the customer rather than the product or service being sold. So that technique of consultative selling helps you better understand the challenges and the issues faced by your customers so that you can position your ideas, your creativity, your products, your services, and solutions in a more compelling and effective way that meets the client's needs. Think to the TSO, right? And that ad campaign. What was the need? Hey, I'm a boomer. I'm scared. I remember going to the symphony and I had to get dressed up and oh boy, what a pain, right? Hey, it's not so bad anymore. It's changed. Come check it out, right? Where do you think Led Zeppelin got, learn music from, right? Probably from the greats, like Beethoven, Tchaikovsky, Mozart. So we're going to do a think, prepare, and share with the group. So the goal of the meeting is to find out what is happening with the client and probe for opportunities to see if they have a need and challenge that you can solve. How do you find this out in the meeting? Take a few moments and answer that question, and then share it once you're done. Good, we're good on time. We'll have a break, don't worry. The goal in the meeting is to find out what's happening. How do you find this out in the meeting? Another 30 seconds. Not long to answer this. Carissa hit the nail on the head. You go in and you ask open-ended questions. That's it. I go in. I'll just show you. I'm getting my my stuff ready. I'll show you what I go in. So I go in with my day timer. I'm a pen and paper guy. Little old fashioned, but I go in with like a notebook here. I like buying notebooks, and I go in and I'll put the client's name on it, and then I write in the notebook, but I have a list of questions that I pre-prepared. It's called my needs analysis, customer needs analysis. So I want to find out as much as I can about them, even subtly. You know, hey, where are you from? Oh, I see a picture of your kids. Oh, they're into hockey. Yeah, Bob, that's Bobby. Oh, cool. So now I know his kid's name, right? So now it's like next time I talk to that client, I might say, hey, how's Bobby? How's hockey going? You know, that kind of thing. So we're building rapport and trust. So I just go in, and as Chris has said, I ask open-ended questions that I pre-prepare, and I might modify it depending on the client because not every client is cookie cutter. But I do have a cookie cutter, what I call a needs analysis, customer needs analysis. You can call it whatever you want. And I go in and I just sort of sit and dialogue and I write notes and, you know, I talk with the client and I jam with them. And it's very, I keep it pretty relaxed and pretty calm because remember what I said, like the suffering in sales comes from expectation. So I have no expectation. I'm just there to serve the client and get to know them and see if we're a fit to work together. So that's the goal. And then, you know, if I hear a no, then I'm not going to be disappointed because maybe this isn't the right fit. But because I'm consulting, I'm using a consultative approach. I'm basing it on, you know, it's got to be a win-win relationship. I do stay in the client's world until such time that maybe they're ready to buy from me and they like what I offer and that we're a good fit to work together. I'm not so focused on I gotta get the sale, I gotta get the sale. I'm focused on I want to develop a relationship so that when the client's ready, it's going to be a good sale. It's not going to be a little piddly sale, right? Well, I'll take the little piddly sales, by the way, and then show them that we're really good, and then we can grow together, right? So Francisco says, do you have a structured needs analysis template that could be shared? I could share mine with Laura, Francisco, but that's for my business. So I can share that with you. I don't have a structured template. I have a list of questions. I don't share it. Okay? But I think you've got to develop your own, and you can use what I do if you want. So I'll share that after. I hope that answers the question. Ask assertive questions. Patchan, oh my gosh, great answers today from all of you. Patchan says, ask assertive questions. Yeah, be assertive. You know, the more direct you are and the more pain you can tap into, the better it is for you. And remember, Tony Robbins once said, the more pain you solve for your customers, the more money you make. I like that. Understand what's the most relevant right now. Understand the perception in relation to the company. This is what Pat Chan shared in the chat. Yeah, understand the perception in relation to the company, understand whether the product meets the needs, understand whether our service provision is being efficient. Excellent. Hey, Dean, how can I know if spending 30 to 45 minutes in a discovery session with a prospect is time, energy, and money well spent? I think, Dean, when you have that initial conversation and they say yes, then it's money well spent. At the very least, you can educate the client when you meet them for that first time, and then you can sort of at least establish the relationship for down the road. So nothing's ever a waste, okay? Um, Especially if they're wanting to see you and they're open to seeing you, it's not a waste. Because the other thing that you need to do, Dana, is you got to build trust, and you have to sort of educate the client, especially with what you do, because it's a bit new and it's something that people haven't even thought of, and it's not in our wheelhouse to think of. So use that time. If you feel that the client's not ready for it, just use it to educate them. And maybe they might know somebody that could benefit too. So maybe I'm always reluctant to ask for a referral from somebody I haven't done business with, but in this case, maybe they might be able to refer you. Okay. So I wouldn't do a PowerPoint presentation at the beginning. I would just go in there and scope out their needs, right? And then when you go back in and you say, okay, here's my quote, here's what we do, maybe then do the PowerPoint presentation. That's me. You've got to do what works for you too. I hope that helps. Good question. Good stuff in the chat. Okay, let's move on. Good. All right, excellent. Thanks, Dean. All right, so some key things to remember. The key to building trust, and this is from the late Dr. Stephen Covey in the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Seek to understand your clients first, and then seek to find ideas, solutions, and opportunities that help your clients get from their current situation into their more desirable state that they want, right? I like this. This is by Robert Keith Levitt. It says, people don't ask for facts and making up their minds. They would rather have one good soul-satisfying emotion than a dozen facts. So the consultative approach, it works, right? And this is all about the consultative approach, because it's you and the customer, it's a relationship. And you agree that the relationship is paramount and must survive any single business transaction. Second is you focus first on discovering and defining a need or a problem independent of your product or service when you meet them. Then you create a set of solutions that's going to resolve the problem, which may incorporate the use of your product or service, which is ideally what we want. And that's what you get across when you present, right? So the process won't work with every customer, know that. However, those customers with whom you can achieve this kind of successful relationship with will probably be your most loyal and profitable clients and accounts moving forward, right? Would you agree? Would you agree? I'm going to ask Carol, would you agree with that? That the clients that you have sort of, win-win, helpful, understanding relationship. Yeah, absolutely. So that's what you want. You want to find that kind of customer because that's probably your ideal customer. So my next question is, what would you ask when you're meeting that client for the very first time? What would you ask? Right? So asking questions in the sales process is key. And there's 2 spots that you ask them. You ask them after you make your initial phone call, or when you meet them on LinkedIn, you're going to ask questions. Hey, it's good to meet you on LinkedIn, or I'm glad you were in our podcast. What did you think? Are you in the market for this? What's going on for you? Right? So you're going to ask questions there, but you got to ask great questions. You have to ask really good questions when you're meeting with somebody for the first time so that you really get to know them. And everybody said, ask open-ended questions, don't be passive about it. Be assertive with your questions. Yes, you have to. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to hear silence on the other end. Because if you hear silence, you hit a nerve. You hit a nerve, and it's a good thing. Because that nerve is usually the thing that the client has to sort of look at, and that's how you can really help them to, calm their nerves, so to speak. So here's your next think, prepare, share. Can you come up with 8 questions you would want to know about your customer or prospect? What are 8 good questions to ask when you meet them? Just take I don't know, 3 minutes. Shouldn't take that much longer. 3 minutes. What are 8 good questions? Yeah, what do you need at this time? What's going on? What stress are you feeling? How are you faring during COVID-19? Your employees, your family, what are you doing to keep calm? And your vibe high. Thanks, Carl. Francesco, if Alexa had all the answers to your problems, what would you ask her? Or what would you ask that Alexa can't answer? You get that one. That's the keys to the kingdom. Carolina says, how did you find her? Yeah, what's working in terms of the advertising? I just, oh my. Randa says, do you need help with your digital marketing? Do you need help with marketing your business? Do you need to get more leads? Do you have time to market your business? Do you have the know-how as to how to reach a market or market your business and maybe even how to reach them effectively, right? Do you know about XYZ product, service, circumstance? Yeah, thank you, Carolina. What are you looking for? Yeah, excellent. So these are all good. These questions in the chat, write them down. Like you wanna be asking questions. You have the budget. Yeah. No budget, no business, right? Okay, next. Sorry, buddy. We're not a non-for-profit here. We're a for-profit. Um, from a man, where do you see your business headed? Yes. Great question. Get them to visualize. When do you intend to buy more book? Yeah. When would you need us? Because you don't want to waste your time. You don't want to waste your clients' time. Too, right? You want to get some sort of reality. And these days, because the uncertainty, people are a little bit like wishy-washy on that. So you just have to be open to expecting that, right? But people are still doing business. So yeah. All right, good questions. Excellent. So you really need to ask good questions. I'm going to share just one little example. So I used to go to Good Life up the street from me, and their customer service reps. You walk in and somebody takes your card and swipes it and says, "Hey, welcome to Good Life," and then you go into the gym and you work out or change. Those customer service reps are the lowest paid people on the staff, like minimum wage. But they have the biggest task because if you're new to Good Life and you just walk in off the street, they're trained in what's called the world class meet and greet. They actually train you in this. And here's how it goes. So first of all, they shake your hand. They say, "Hey, welcome to Good Life," and they shake your hand. They use two hands when they shake your hand, like that, right? And then, "Welcome to Good Life," and they ask, "How did you find out about us?" Just the sign on the street. Oh, great. Well, what did you come here hoping to get or to find out? And then they say, "Well, I'm just wanting to get back into shape, or I want to have some stress management and maybe community, that kind of thing." Oh, good. Um, would you have time for a tour? Right? So they just ask you like three critical questions. Yeah, matter of fact, I do. Okay, awesome. We need you just to fill out this form, just in case anything happens. It's just a waiver, and I'll call for one of our reps to take you on a tour, and they can answer any questions you have about our gym, right? And so they got you to fill out the form, which is their information, and then the person giving the tour probably connect with them after just to follow up, right? But they ask three critical questions. How do you find out about us? So that's like seeing, is our advertising working? Is it word of mouth? Whatever it is. So they want to know what's working in terms of the marketing. Then they ask, like, what did you come in here? What are your goals? Right? So they know what they want. And then, do you have time? Would you like to have a tour and find out more about it? Yeah, I would. Great. Have a seat, fill out this form, more information. Right? So it's really important to ask good questions. You don't have to have all the answers. You have to be able to ask really good questions. So practice your questioning techniques. And the model I like is it's called the the learner judger model for question techniques by Dr. Marilee Goldberg Adams. And I actually got to study with her a long time ago. Back in the day, I got my coaching training at the Adler School for Coaching. And Adler is a protege of Freud. And she says that our mindsets are determined by the questions we ask. So as a coach, it's up to us to ask good questions or our clients, so that we empower our clients to come up with their own ideas. And in sales, you need to ask good questions, right? So some questions have the potential to catalyze breakthroughs and inspire transformations. And that's what you want to see in your customers, right? So others lead to stagnation and demoralization. So the difference lies in whether you ask learner questions, open-ended questions, or judger questions, which is like it's almost what it says. You're judging yourself. Why did I do that? Why am I so whatever, you know? So learner questions are very open-minded, curious, and creative, and they promote the progress and possibilities that lead to discoveries and understanding and solutions. Whereas judger questions are closed-minded, they're certain, and they're critical, and they focus on problems rather than solutions, and often lead to defensive reactions, negativity, and inertia. Learner questions facilitate progress by expanding options. Judger questions impede progress by limiting perspectives. So here's the model. Asking open-ended questions will help you obtain information. Questions are the thing that gets you to really understand your customers, but sometimes we're afraid to ask them because we're fearful of upsetting the client or touching a nerve. And as I said, when that nerve is touched, that's when you can really, truly make a difference and impact by helping to ease the pain. So here's the judger-learner model. So the judger is like, whose fault is it, right? What's wrong with me? What's wrong with them? It's kind of blame focused, win-lose, automatic reactions, whereas the learner model, is open-ended. It's thoughtful. It's feeling. It's understanding circumstances, thoughtful choices, solution focused, win-win, related. So this is based on Dr. Marilee Adams' book, Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. And do some homework on this. And, just watch the judger mindset, especially with yourself, you know. So even of yourself, ask open-ended questions if you're faced with some challenges. So in the sales process, as I mentioned, there's two places where you have to ask questions, and that's when you reach out and you make a warm call and the client says no. And often we're just too quick to hang up and not probe the no. So I'm really mindful that if the client says no, I ask if they have time to answer a few questions. And how I would approach it is, hey Joe, I get it's no, because you don't forget your opening script, your opening statement with a client on the phone is like 9 to 10 seconds. So for you to expect them to understand who and what you are all about and say yes is really, it would be a miracle. Like if they said yes, buy a lotto ticket because it's your lucky day. Okay, so the chances are like 90% of the time they're going to say no. Okay, not wanting to meet you. So what I do is I say, hey, I get it's no. We're really committed to serving our customers to the best of our ability, and we get really good results with those that we work with. So would you mind, do you have a couple moments now where I can, probe the no and just to see, maybe educate you a little bit more, but just to see if you'd be, willing to stay in contact So when you are open to buying, that you would consider us. If you have a few moments, and I can ask you a few questions. And so, like, the questions I'll ask is, are you familiar with what we do? Have you used a service like this? What did you like about it? What didn't you like? Are you using somebody now? Are you happy? Would you be open to switch? These are kinds of questions I'd ask when I'm making my call, because I want to see if there's an opportunity for us to work together. Would they be open to an alternative supplier? Would they be open to switching? Would they be open to maybe meeting down the road? Right? I want to have that opening, and I want to then nurture the relationship along so that when they're ready to buy, I'm here, right? I'm here to serve you. So these questions are situational questions, and they check out the current reality, the happiness, the openness, the future possibilities, and you then want to ask to stay in touch in a way that pleases the customer and doesn't overwhelm them. Okay? You ever, you sign up for something online with one of these experts, and next thing you know, you're getting like 10 emails a day. Like, whoa, stop, too much, right? Um, so you really want to make sure it's called permission marketing. So you want to do permission marketing. Find out how your customer wants you to stay in touch with them. That's not going to, get them upset and maybe cancel or get off your mailing list, right? Ask permission. So I always ask these situational questions on the phone. How happy are you? Would you be open to this? Are you using somebody now? Are you open to, a second quote, or if, and reinforce your value. Reinforce like, yeah, we work with other customers and we get really good results, and they're really happy when we get to know them. Would you be open to that, right? We're not asking for the business. We're just asking for the possibility of being able to quote and do business with you when you're ready, right? You hear how we're saying it? So that's, you know, one place where you ask questions. And the second point is in that discovery or needs analysis meeting, because you really want to get a sense of the client's needs, again, their hopes, their goals, their budgets, their dreams, their timelines, the likelihood of making a buy, right? Remember last week, I think I shared that I went to the gym as a guest, and the owner of the gym came up to me on the treadmill and said, what do we have to do to get your business? And it's like, oh man, I love that question. What would you have to do to get my business? Like, oh, you know, unfortunately it wasn't a fit, but there's possibility for other possibilities. You need to know what your client's pain. You need to know if you can solve that pain or the goals at a price that is both fair to you and the client. You need to know that you've got the proper time to do the work. You need to find out if you're talking to the decision maker. Because if you're not, you're in big trouble, right? You want to talk to the decision maker. You want to know what the buying criteria is. Is it price? Is it quality? Is it, are they shopping? Are they working with somebody else? What's it going to take for you to get that sale, right? Is there anything else preventing their client from acting? So if it's a no, ask to follow up and stay in touch in a way that doesn't turn off the client. So I always like to stay in touch and with the client, even if they choose somebody else. Maybe they made a wrong decision, right? Maybe they're not happy with the vendor they actually chose. And then, you know what? We should have went with you. So stay in touch. So just some final thoughts on this approach on consultative selling. So to succeed today, you have to be worthy collaborators with the highly knowledgeable buyers that you're going to encounter, right? With increasing frequency. Um, part of that, is that you cannot drive and control the sale simply because many buyers are too empowered, knowledgeable, and savvy, right? So you have to really understand the customer and have a collaborative relationship. And then with global economic uncertainties and the recent global recessions, it also made individual buyers, as well as companies they represent, realize that perhaps once and for all, that they must see results and maximize the return on investment in every purchase. So you have to really show results and deliver those results. So that means buyers that you're talking to are more cautious than ever, and they're acutely aware of the risks of making bad decisions. You want to assure them that they're making a good decision and they're doing the right thing. The next step in the sales process is, now that we have all this information on the client and we know their needs and their budgets and their pain, their issues, we then want to make a good presentation. So the keys to a good presentation is to keep the audience engaged and passionate. Keep it short. You don't want to go on too long or you'll bore them. Be focused. Make sure the benefits are tailored and tangible and impressive. So you want to reinforce the benefits of your offering. Hey, client, in our meeting, you said this was one of your issues, and here's how we help you, right? So it's like, hey, we listened to you, and now here's our solution that's going to help you achieve what you want to achieve. So make sure when you're sharing and presenting the benefits in your presentation that they're tailored to what the client said, they're tangible, and they're impressive. Again, keep your presentation short, use less slides, maybe 10 slides. Even 10 to 15 minutes might be a bit too much, so 5 minutes, because our studies show that our focus has gone way down. The BBC study even shared that we're down to like 9 seconds, which is that of a goldfish, which is scary. That's our attention level. It's just fine, right? Keep your presentation simple, coordinated. Provide a new perspective to the client. Make sure you're really clear in communicating again the benefits and then the future. So we're going to help you move into this future, right? You're struggling now, but because we have this expertise we're going to share with you, this is what you can expect in the future. So get them excited about the future. Get them, empowered. And you think of all the great people in society, politics, social movements. I mean, Martin Luther King, the "I Have a Dream" speech. It was all about creating your mind. I see the future. I have a dream. The late John F. Kennedy, we're going to get a man to the moon, right? It's like, what? Are you kidding me? How can we do that? Gandhi, like he had a way of doing things too, a future that people said, yes, this is possible, right? We can, combat forces by a peace, right? With a peaceful approach. So if you think and you study like history, like all the great things happen because you're selling a future, a possibility that you're going to help the client attain. So make sure that that is in your presentation. And it's okay to be funny or controversial in your presentation as well. Okay? A little humor sort of lightens the mood. And controversial, again, gets the client to think and to remember that by not acting and by not working with you, they're going to miss out. They're not going to achieve the benefits. And what's that costing them by not achieving the benefits of what you're bringing to the table, right? They're going to have the same reality. What's the cost of, Carol, in your case, what's the cost of low employee morale? What's the cost of employees saying, you know what, you spent so much money training them and now they're not that happy and they don't feel supported or taken care of? What's the cost of losing an employee and retraining a new one? So you really have to be a bit controversial too sometimes when you present. So these are some keys to a good presentation. Keep it short, sweet, controversial. Reinforce the vision, the goal, like the future that the client wants to have and see, and that you're the person that's going to lead them there, right? And then make sure you're focused. Make sure you reinforce the benefits of your offering. This is what's going to change is the result you're going to get. And then just have some passion when you present. You don't want to go in there and be monotone and dull. You want to be passionate, and also wear your best outfit. Even if you're doing Zoom, look, yeah, I get it, sweatpants, working from home, but make sure you got a nice top on at least, right? And if you do stand up, turn your video off. Um, all right. So really important, plan and execute the sales introduction and the sales meeting in a way that creates a high priority need and compelling urgency to set up the close. So this is like a lawyer uh, in a case, and they're doing their closing arguments. So Joe was, found, with a hammer on this night. This car was in the neighborhood, had, broken windows. So you're setting up your argument, right? And so you want to, set up your case. And so, client, you said that, this was a really big need for you, and, by not changing, this would be the result. So, based on our discussion, this is what we're going to do to help you, and these are the results. You want to articulate how your value or the value-added solution that you offer is going to help them in their business. It's going to help them with that problem that they have. And then you want to align directly to the client's needs so that the client is compelled to commit to moving forward. So this will ensure that a desire for a close is created in the client's mind. So you said this was a key thing for you. Here's our ideas. Here are our solutions. Here's the value you're going to get from it. Here's how we're going to help you go from here to here. And then you want to leverage the urgency. So by not acting, what would that cost you? And then by acting, can you imagine, get the client to imagine in your mind's eye that if you took action today, what life would look like in 6 months, right? Somebody doing marketing consulting. Can you imagine by working on your website or working on your social media strategy, the clients you're going to get? Get them to imagine the outcome. So you want to leverage the urgency, the need, and the desire that the client has for change to drive the close of the sale in terms of the sales roadmap, from immediate win to medium and long-term higher value solution. Okay? I see posting in the chat. Okay. Talking about the book. So hopefully that makes it clear. That's what you've got to do in your presentation. It's really important. So we're going to do a think, prepare, share. What makes good presentations in your opinion? What gets you to buy from someone? What gets you to buy from someone? What makes for good presentations in your opinion? And what do you think is important for you to ensure or teach your client or share with your clients? What do you think is important for you to ensure you teach or share with your clients? Okay, so these 3 questions. What gets you to buy from someone? What makes a good presentation? And what do you sort of need to teach or share with your clients in your presentation about what it is you do? Take a few minutes and then think, prepare, and share. And we're really good for time. Okay, good. Let me see. So, wow. Okay, good, 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 good. Storytelling. Chan says storytelling is important. Francesca, good presentation. Presentations focused on me, the client, not all of the services they provide. Visually appealing, yeah. Not too much visual overload, but having good visual support, charts, infographics, workflows. Less wording, yes, Carol, that's great. Carol says, I will only buy from someone I trust. Always find trust in someone who's passionate and enthusiastic and who doesn't always have the answers in the moment. Yeah, be real. You got to be vulnerable. We're not, we don't, just when you're vulnerable with people and you're willing to risk a little bit, people will trust you more. Dane says, I think finding an emotional connection and connecting to their stories. Yeah, excellent. Shan says, addressing the real pain. Yeah, exactly. Personalizing if possible. What we offer to specific clients we are dealing with. Yeah, I think in your case, uh, Carolina, the more personal you can be in terms of personalizing your presentation, that's the best bet. Like, not everybody, it's not a cookie cutter solution, and everybody's different, right? Carol says presentations must be engaged, be full of information to make me laugh. Brenda says show them that I can meet their needs and solve their problems. Beautiful. Always preparing and improving our public speaking skills. Carolina says adapting as presentations happen, and yeah, improving public speaking. Excellent. Yeah, and the ways to do that, believe it or not, Toastmasters is still going. It's virtual. The Toastmasters is an organization worldwide that helps you be better at public speaking. And you need to be a good presenter in sales and a good listener. And, those are the skills, right? Chatan says, try to be transparent, be observant, honest with what you can offer. Um, yeah, and according to the interests of our customers. Excellent, excellent. Good stuff. Good stuff. We're doing really well. So just a couple of steps to add to this. You also want to ask to see if there are any questions once you've presented. So we're in the presentation phase of the sales process. So, right? And in this presentation phase, there's a few side steps. And one is, are there any questions, right? So you want to really get clear that the client knows, that they're clear as to what you can do, and you want to sort of minimize any maybe objections possible, or make sure you've answered all the questions and that they're in agreement with you so far. The other side steps when you present, and this is step 4 of the sales process. The other element is you want to ask for the sale, right? You want to ask for the sale. Hey, I see you like what we said. When would you like us to deliver? Or when can we start working with you, right? Or when would you like to book your first reflexology? So you want to ask for the sale. These are a few little side steps that they're not side steps, they're major steps, but they're really important. And the time to do it is after you've made your presentation. The other thing you might need to consider is you might need to overcome objections. So the client might still have a little bit of pushback, or maybe they're a little nervous to commit. And they usually will share that in the form of an objection. And you'll need to negotiate too. So you have to plan on negotiation. So when you're presenting, you're going to ask if there's any other questions, anything that we've missed. Are they clear? And then you're going to ask for the sale. And they might have an objection. They might say, we'd like to do it, but we're not sure about you. It's the first time we've used you, right? And we're a little nervous about that. Remember, buyers are a little more cautious, so you have to prepare for that. And if they're a little nervous, then maybe they want, would it help if you spoke to some of our other clients? You want to connect with them and to see how they like working with us and what they thought, right? Maybe that proof, or speaking to an existing client of yours is going to kind of settle their nerves about the fact that you're new and they haven't done business with you, right? So an objection, we'll see what an objection is all about, but you have to plan for this. in the sales process, and it usually comes up after you've made your presentation, and you might need to negotiate a close or an end. So in terms of closing and in terms of presentation, once you're done, once you're complete, you want to ask for the sale. And there's two closes that you might want to consider. One's a trial close, and the trial close is like, I get you don't want to buy all of, our web. I get you don't want a full-blown website. Why don't you try just a beginner website, and then we can add on over time. We can add the other bells and whistles. Got it? That's a trial. Try us out. Or take, instead of package A, the gold package, why don't you take the bronze package, and then again we can move you to the A over time, right? Then there's the direct close. So after you made a presentation and they're shaking their head and they're in agreement with you, just ask, when would you like to start? When can we do business with you, right? There's the pressure close. I'm not a big fan of this. If you don't buy by this Friday, the price goes up. And then there's the negotiated close where maybe they don't want to pay full price. So you say, look, I get you want a discount. I think we can do that, but I'm going to need a check up front. So that's a negotiated close. So you're going to give a concession, but you're going to ask for something in return. Okay? And then there's the alternative close, and that is, hey, I get that you might not want this package. Why don't we try this, right? Here's an alternative. So these are closing techniques that you might want to try out, and I left out an H there on Word. So asking for the sale is tough for some people because it involves money and our work. Sorry about the H. And then there's the assumptive close. So you're making an assumption, like, you do your presentation. So would that be, 5 cases or 1? Like that kind of thing. So you're assuming that it's a go. And then there's the rebound close, and that's where you take an objection and you turn it around into a closing question. So if I could get you proof that you want to speak to our customers, and you see that we do good work, would you be open to buying that, right? So that's a rebound close. So those are some closing techniques that you could use. I'm more of a direct person. I just like to ask for the sale, right? I don't want to waste my time. And I don't want to play games with people and try assuming or the pressure close. It's not my style. I'm more direct and to the point. So what closing techniques do you like, and what would work best for your business and selling style? Take a moment to think, prepare, and share. What would work best for you? Miranda says, I like direct or trial. Yeah. Yeah, here too. Trial is good too. All right, for the sake of time, I'm going to move forward. But these are the closing techniques you can use. And you have to kind of gauge your audience too, right? So just for the sake of time, I'm going to move forward. One of the steps in your presentation, aside from asking for the sale, is you might get an objection. But Your Honor, I object, right? So when you present and ask for the sale, you might get a little bit of pushback or a little fear might come up. So this is normal, right? So what might happen when you present is that you're going to hear objections from the client. So again, think, prepare, share. Are objections a good thing? Yes or no? What's an objection about, and how can you solve them? So my question, actually, just for Group discussion, is our objections a good thing? Yes or no? And then I'll take care of the other two questions. Are objections a good thing? Yes or no? Okay, I'm going to move forward. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So objections are a good thing, actually. The reason they're good is that, yes, Carol says yes, they help your business grow. Randa says yes. Yeah, because Randa said there might be something he missed in the sales presentation, and that's exactly right. So objections are good. They're good because the client's still with you and they haven't put you out of the office or said no yet. They're just raising a concern. So an objection is just that. An objection is a need that your client didn't know existed. So normal objections are like time, money, you're new, we've never heard of you before, right? These are sort of objections that we hear about. And if it's time or money, let's say it's money, then it's a need. They're just stating a need. That's what an objection is about. So then you have to probe the need, right? You've got to say, okay, there's a need around money. What is that? Let's explore that. And the way I solve an objection is I put my hats on. And to overcome objection, here's a simple method. You can try this out at home if you've got kids and they don't like dinner or something. Try putting your hats on. And here's how it goes. You just hear it out. Hear the objection. Hey, money's a bit of a concern right now. Okay. Accept it. Don't fight it. It's not personal. Just accept it. It's hard sometimes. Thank them. Hey, Joe, thanks for saying money's an issue. It is for a lot of our clients right now. And then ask the client to solve their problem. You don't solve it. So then they're going to say, what you say is, hey, thanks for pointing out that money is an issue. What would you need around money for us to do business? That's one of the closing techniques. What would you need for us, around money for us to do business? And let them tell you. So then they might say, well, we needed a, 25% discount. And now you know what they want and where you're at and where you stand with the client. And now you're in the driver's seat because you control the sale. All right, 25% discount. I'm not always fast to say yes. I might even negotiate and say, can I, that's a lot. Can I get back to you tomorrow? Right? And I'll share, let me think about this. And then I'll come back another time. I don't want to be too eager just to discount. I'm not a really big fan of discount because, what we do, we work really hard and all the rejection we get along the way and the getting a customer takes time that, we should be paid fairly and fully. So that's how I overcome objections. I hear it out, I accept it, I thank them for sharing, and then I ask them to solve the problem, right? And then once you know what the problem is and what they want, then you can negotiate better, right? So I might go back or come back a day later and say, Joe, I thought about the 25%, and we can't do that. We could give you a 15% discount, but then we really need to get a check up front. Are you okay with that? Right? So there's your negotiated close technique. So we could do it for this, but we can't do it for that because it really compromises our bottom line. And after speaking to our accounting team, they felt that that's too risky a sale. So the key in negotiation is to know your position and know your bottom line, and don't compromise your bottom line. Don't compromise your business. Don't compromise the value and your reputation. Okay? So again, if you've got kids, they don't like dinner, hear it out, accept it, thank them. Hey, thanks for sharing that you don't like craft dinner and hot dogs. What the hell's wrong with you? Sorry. Craft dinner and hot dogs are good. I'm on keto, I can't have it, but they are good. And then what you'd ask your kid is, or your child is like, okay, I get you don't like dinner tonight. Well, how would you solve the problem tomorrow? Maybe they'll cook dinner for you. So try it, practice it at home. So negotiation still has to happen after an objection. But if you hear it, you thank them, and now you know where they stand. Now you know what you can do, and that's where negotiation happens. So once you hear what the client wants, you need to move into negotiation. So just some negotiation strategies. Be ready to negotiate. Don't just like, it's not part of the sale. No, it is, and you have to prepare. So a couple of really big tips when you're negotiating. You have to achieve a win-win position in negotiation. Okay? You can't suffer and your client can't suffer. Because if you do, there's going to be regret and resentment. So you want to reinforce selling your own position in the context of what drives your client. So if they say, I want a 25% discount, say, Joe, the value we bring to the table is going to be way more than the discount, right? The result we're going to get for you is going to, you're going to make money by using our services. Our services won't cost you anything, down the road, right? So you want to resell your own position in the context of what drives your customer. So if your customer's saying, yeah, morale is really bad with our staff right now, they feel they're not being supported or taken care of. This is Carol, I'm using you as an example. So what's the cost of not doing anything? And by doing something, improving morale, the result you're going to get is going to be far greater than the cost of hiring our services. See what I'm saying? So you want to treat the negotiation of commercial terms as a key element of the sales process, and you want to prepare for negotiation. So number one, set your objectives and have an agenda. So you have to know what you want out of this negotiation, and you have to know what your sort of bottom line is. I remember I knew I was going to get fired from the job. This is a long time ago. And I was really clear. I knew it because there was something that had occurred. I actually didn't go into work one day, and I had to just like my manager. It was a character issue. It wasn't anything personal. And I knew I was going to get fired, and I knew. But I went in saying, okay, I'm going to get fired. This is my last day of work. But here's what I want. I want to get fired. I want to get my separation papers. That was my goal, so I could be on EI, right? And at least have some money coming in while I make my next step. Not only did I get my separation papers, she actually kept me on part-time for the summer. So this is April 19th. I got to stay on part-time, like a day or two a week, or a month, part-time until the end of August, beginning of September. So she felt bad that she fired me. And I came from my heart. She said, what are you going to do now? I said, I don't know. I wasn't really expecting this. This kind of, sucks, basically. And she said, oh, okay. And she kept me on. So I knew my position. So I knew my objectives, and I got my objectives, and then pick a good environment, right? Pick a safe environment for you and your client. You don't want to be in an environment where anybody feels threatened. And by that, have you ever gone for an interview and there's like 3 people against you and you feel like, whoa, there's more than I thought, right? So you want to have a safe environment. It's just between you and the client. Prepare your opening speech, right? So again, like a lawyer would, demonstrate, hey, client, when we met you, this is what you said, this is what you wanted. We're going to deliver all this. We're going to offer you guarantees. You're going to be really happy with the outcome down the road, right? What's that worth to you? So very opening speech and reiterate the value of what you're doing. The other thing that's really important is make sure you're talking to the decision. Because if you're talking to somebody that has no authority to buy, it's like, why? Well, don't waste your time. Don't waste your time. So you want to talk to the decision maker. Is that if you're talking to sort of an intermediary person, they're only going to report back the information And you know that the game you play when you tell a secret to somebody and they tell it, broken telephone it's called. That's kind of what happens. So when you tell somebody that's not the decision maker, they're not going to share all of what you said to the decision maker. So there's going to be something is going to get lost in the translation. Carol says StatsCan states that $3.40 return on investment on every dollar spent on wellness programs in the workplace. Excellent. That's why, Carol, and for everybody, it's really important to know your market and know the value and the success stories of your market. Really important to research. That's why research is the second step in the 7-step sales process. So let's go back to finishing on negotiation. So what do we learn? Prepare your opening speech, pick a safe environment, have goals and objectives, right? Know your bottom line, know when to walk away. And yeah, be prepared to walk away. Sometimes a deal is not worth taking. And although walking away from negotiations empty-handed will stall the process, you need to have a willingness to exit negotiations is crucial, right? Because if you're taking on the deal that's going to, possibly damage your business and your reputation down the road, that's not worth it, right? And if you're working with a resentful heart, that's not worth it. So you have to have your needs met and don't give away or compromise your success and professionalism ever, ever. Okay? So it's okay to say no to a deal. What's really important is just because you say no doesn't mean you can't get another deal later on. So remember what I said. If you don't get a deal, follow up in a month. Hey, Joe, just checking in. How's it going with what you did go with? Are you happy? Are there any opportunities maybe for us to work together down the road, right? You want to nurture and build that relationship until such time that the client is ready to buy with them. Okay, so sometimes you just got to walk away. It's a bad deal, bad for the bottom line, bad for your reputation, bad for your self-esteem and your heart. And the last part of today's presentation last week is you really want to nurture the relationship, even if they say no, right? Want to nurture the relationship. And even if they are good customers, studies show it costs more than 5 times as much in terms of dollars, time, energy, effort, sweat equity to get a new customer than it does to keep an existing customer. And that in and of itself should help you understand the value of building relationships with your customers and turning them into repeat buyers, but also as great sources for referrals or spokespeople for your company. So really stay close to your customer and nurture the relationship. That's the key. That's really the key to your future success, right? One customer at a time. So the consultative 7-step process is about the relationship being paramount. Remember we talked about that? The part of relationship selling involves maintaining regular contact with your customer. So after they buy, it shouldn't be bye-bye. If you neglect a client who has trust in your integrity as a person or a business owner, that client may be forced to turn to your competitors. So if you neglect them, trust me, your competitors are falling away. And, they've been calling regularly maybe to get their customers' business. So make sure you not only build a relationship, but you keep regular contact with all channels of communication open, all channels, right? So my question to you, this is the last prepare and share. What are 5 tactics you're going to do every month to enhance relationships you have with your clients, staff, or stakeholders? And stakeholders, this could be your bank. This could be, because we're working remotely, we have staff outside. What are you going to do to enhance relationships you have with, number one, your clients, staff if you have them, and stakeholders? Take a few minutes, think, prepare, and share. And we're good for time. I send monthly articles. I write for Home Business Magazine. Call people once in a while. I'm doing podcasts. I invite you to listen. What are you going to do? This time of year is really important. It's the holidays, and we're going to a bit of a time of uncertainty in terms of what are the holidays going to look like. And I just shared the other day there's a new Coca-Cola commercial um, that's tugging on our heartstrings for Christmas, and it's a beautiful commercial. I'm not going to share what it is, but the the the, the overall message of the commercial is to be present with those that we love. That the present is not like the gifts we give. It's not about that. It's to be present with those we love. And that's the theme of the commercial. You can just Google or YouTube it. It's on YouTube. It just came out on the 9th. And yeah, um, what can you do to be present with people that you work with, right? Um, I just wrote an article for the December issue of Home Business Magazine. And this year, I think it's more than ever. And I think that it's important to just share the love and share goodness with others. And I touted about the idea of going local, really go with local vendors because they need the money and the support. Um, do something good, like maybe donate to a charity on their behalf, on their customers' behalf, things like that that you can do. So the article comes out in Home Business Magazine in early December, and it's about just engaging with people with a bit of love and a little bit of care, probably now more than ever. Dane writes, send a newsletter, keep them engaged in social media, include on an email referral and customer service satisfaction surveys. Excellent. And through the citizenship process, keep them engaged and informed. Yeah, excellent. Engagement, uh, informed, updated. Yeah, you can lose sales. I remember last year I bought a share online from an office supply company, and they emailed me saying it's not in stock, it's coming, right? And, and a month later, I'm going, where's the chair? What's going on? Oh, it'll come the end of December. Okay. And it's like, why didn't you get in touch with me and ask if I wanted, maybe I wanted, I really wanted a new chair. Why didn't you get in touch with me and then offer alternatives to the chair I bought and an alternative that maybe is in stock that, you know what, if it's an extra $20, $30 because I wanted a new chair, I probably would have bought it. So why didn't they make that call? Why didn't their customer service department, why weren't they trained to make that call to just check and see, right? Check in. Get it for, the horse's mouth kind of thing. Helen says monthly updates. Yeah, definitely. Offer monthly fun games night. I love it. Connect with other people with whom they could increase their business. Yeah, connect them. Yeah. So, hey, Joe, I got a colleague I think you should meet. Monthly sharing is caring newsletter. I love it. All online. Yeah, for now. We will get back. Explain the value of the work and what you accomplish. Spotlight on client. Names can be changed or ask the client if they're comfortable sharing their story of how I helped them. Yeah. Carol says, I'm sorry, David Moore, I just got to pop off early. Okay. Thanks, Carol. Yeah. So those are some really good tips. We're almost done. Really good shares. Thank you, everybody. But make sure you have tactics because here's why. Okay. And then we'll wrap up. Here's why. To have a strategy. You must do this work. You must do the work for your clients. You must nurture the relationship. You always want to be open for feedback or criticism because if you're criticized, at least the client hasn't fired you, they're just wanting to see a different result. So always stay close to your client. Be open to feedback. You can always fix something. You can always, ask them what it would take to solve, their problem. Like, when you're doing work and you're not happy. Okay, I get you're not happy. What would you like to see? Right? Be be there for the client. It's not always going to be, like roses and ice cream, right? So make sure you stay close to the client, you do good work, check in, ask for feedback, see how you can improve. And then when you have a client that's happy, ask for referrals, ask for more business, ask them to come back more. Because once you've got that trust, once you've done good work, once you've got that relationship built, that client can really, really help your business. And here's how, and we're almost done. So let's say you've got 10 clients, right? And the average sale is $100. And they buy once a year from you. Yeah, ask for testimonials for sure, Francesco. So let's say this is your business. You got 10 customers, they buy $100 a year, or one time a year, and they spend $100. So your total sales is $1,000. Okay? Let's say by just nurturing the relationship with the client, you ask them this question. You ask them for a referral. Then you ask them, would they like to buy more? Like McDonald's doubled their sales by asking one product like that. And then encourage them to come back more often. Hey, we have a sale, or we have a special, or we have a promotion, or we have a new service or product you might be interested in. So ask them to come in more than normal. And if you did all that, if you asked for referrals, if you asked, would they want fries with that, and would they come in more often? And let's say you just had a 10% increase in that. So out of all the customers you asked, you got an extra customer, so 10% increase. Out of all the customers you asked, they only spent 10% more with you. So they got a really small fry with that. So now your average sales is $110, and now you have 11 customers. And let's say they came in 10% more times per year, they come in now 1.1 times a year. When you do the math, you just increase your sales by $1,331. That's 30% increase in sales by just staying close to your customers and asking them, who else do you know that would benefit from what we do, right? And would you want fries with that? You're buying this. You want to buy our other service, right? And then get them to come in, a little bit more every year, right? So imagine if you had like everybody was on board and you had 100%, like you double your sales. Crazy. That's why you need to nurture your client and nurture the relationship and stay close. Because your clients are your best source of more business and referrals. I'm done. So this is where you get a hold of me. That's my email, my home line. So 9 to 5. And that's my website, which is changing. So you can look at it, but in the new year, it's gone. I think we're done.